Welcome back to the Keys to the Hustle podcast. Today we'll be sitting with Carly Porch from the Unpacked and Oversharing podcast. If you haven't seen that already, you need to jump on it. And speaking of oversharing, Carly just lost her job. So tune in. Hey, Carly.
Hello.
Welcome. I'm so honoured to have you.
Thanks for having me.
I guess I've been following you on socials for a while now. I guess I started following you on TikTok. I want to say before I was an agent, I was in the event space, I think, when I first followed you on TikTok, which was honestly 3 years ago in November. So it's been a time.
I know. I do remember coming across you because I always get excited when I see Perth-based creators and I like to follow back. There's something about, I don't know, just seeing other creatives in Perth. I'm always like excited to see, even if it's not necessarily a field I know anything about, like real estate, I'm excited to see people doing stuff.
I love it. And I don't think there's a lot of people in the real estate space that are leaning into content creation. But yes, I guess, what was your motivation? I understand it was self-motivated, your push to your personal branding side. I will just briefly say, I reckon my favorite things about you that I quickly summarized is like your ability to do journalism, content and storytelling. I really resonate with your approach towards your clients. Oh, well, your guests, not your clients. That's the real estate agent in me. And I like how you use traditional media and modernized it, I reckon. You're one of the first broadcasters I think I came across that was doing organic and traditional branding content on TikTok. It's a great space to do it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for picking up on that. That's so nice of you to say.
I mean it.
Yeah, look, to be honest, I don't know if I started out that strategic, but the more I started doing it and seeing what was actually happening with traditional media and people like myself that were working in mainstream media, I thought it would be crazy to not embrace the social side of things and that level of content creation, because I feel like, you know, it is hard when you have a full-time job and your full-time job is to create a certain amount of hours of content per day, but it almost becomes a space where you're like, I'm doing this anyway, I may as well really go all the way. And if I'm creating something, how do I get that out to as many people as possible? And, you know, with a lot of the stuff I was doing with the radio show, it can live and die on air. So I was like, how do I get the maximum out of the input? And that's where I think that the push for social media came.
Yeah. So do you think it's more important, I guess, in today's media saturation to lead more into content creation? Is content creating more important than radio ratings nowadays?
I mean, I guess that's a question for people that are paid more than me, because I'm not really on that level of thoughtfulness.
Looking at you, Pete and Kimber.
I can only really speak from where I come from and my experience. I'm not sure, I guess, the weight they put in that from a corporate level and what they want. Like, I certainly was never pulled aside and given KPIs around, you know, you have to reach this many followers. But I definitely was told at points in my career, like, and I've seen people get, you know, mainstream media jobs because of their following, which, you know, it can't hurt. But I certainly wasn't like told you have to do this. But I think just trying to be smart about it and have some longevity, I was like, yeah, I should be embracing this, you know. I should be, if I want to be a part of the media landscape, I need to embrace where it's going and go with it.
Yeah, and I think you come from such a genuine perspective and point with all of your guests and your content that I think it's natural and not normal and easy to gravitate towards you. So I think you're going to do amazing no matter where you are.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. That's so nice of you to say as well. I feel like you've just invited me on to like ask me out, which I'm here for. Thanks. That's really sweet.
Come on the podcast and get glazed.
I'll come anytime you need.
I need it. I guess I don't know. There's something powerful about the follow back, right? And it's implemented into psychology, I feel now. It's almost like being the popular kid at school, right? popular kids, I think they were defined by not how many people liked them, but how many people they liked. And I don't like coming across follow snobs. So when you followed me back, I was like, oh my gosh, she's huge. So I think over the last 3 years, I've just bigged you up in my head to be the same status as Pete and Kipper.
I'm definitely not on their level. No, but I think you make a good point there, like with that is, you know, because I feel the same way, right? Because I wouldn't say I've reached the heights of anything, you know, but I know what you mean, because I've been that person when you're starting out with anything, and then someone who you've looked up to who's doing something in that space, because I know you're embracing, you know, your social media and things like that. And it is like, it does give you that little confidence boost of like, this is someone that, you know, is doing something that I'm aspiring towards, and they're at a different level at it than me. And it does. And there's still heaps of people that I, you know, look to and think, God, it'd be nice to connect with them, or, you know, and things like that. So that's what I think social media is amazing for from a content creation perspective is, you know, you can connect with so many people and build relationships and, you know, really look at what other people are doing and take away things that you can use as well and connect with people like you and I have.
Yeah, and I think don't be shy. Like, I think every person I've asked to come on this podcast, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're just gonna laugh at the message, but well, hey, will you come on my podcast? No pressure.
Yeah.
And then it's like, yes, like that's how I got Corey on. I just sent him a message on TikTok. I think I've been following him for a couple of years too. He's well known in the industry, is turning over well-known numbers and has just taken off with TikTok. I don't want to say recently because he's been posting forever, but I want to say the last 6 months he's really gotten traction with his educational videos. And I'm really glad on where the universe planted me for that.
Yeah. I actually have a great story about that.
Yeah, hit me.
So years and years ago, I was doing radio in a tiny little town. Yeah. And it was
What town?
Griffith, New South Wales.
Shout out Griffith.
Shout out Griffith. And we didn't really get big guests. We didn't have producers. We were this little country radio station. I was just starting out. And at the time, I was obsessed with doing an Elmo voice. Like, I don't know why. It was a stupid thing I would do on air.
You should go back to that. I reckon it'll sell. And
I remember at the time, like, joking with my co-host, and I said, you know, it'd be great if we got the Elmo on the show and I got to actually just do my Elmo voice to the Elmo, like the voice of Elmo.
Tell me it happened.
Well, I found and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do this. So I found a contact for Sesame Street, like literally through Google, and I couldn't believe it.
Tell me how you did that off camera.
No, it wasn't some, you know, media contact. It was literally this contact I found. And then I noticed that there was a number attached to it. And I thought, I'm just going to call the number. So I called the number and it's America. Yeah. And they're like, oh, are you Fitzy and Whipper's producer for Elmo's radio interview? And I had this moment of like, oh my God.
Did you say yes?
And I had this moment of like, do I say yes? And I said, oh, no, I'm actually from a different radio station. And she's like, oh, okay, are you on the list for today's media interviews? And I said, oh, I was just checking if we are. And she's like, oh, what's your name? And I was like, Carly. And she was like, oh, I don't think you're on today's list, but I can put you on tomorrow's list. The next day we got Elmo on the show. And that was just from me going, you know what, I'm just going to try.
I want Elmo.
And it was obviously the stars aligning that he happened to be doing. I didn't even know at the time, but he was about to come to Australia and do a tour.
Oh my God.
And I have had lots of moments like that in my career where I've just asked a question and
just letting you know, you can have first dibs on asking him on your podcast, but it's free reign after that.
But yeah, I think you've got the right attitude there is you don't know until you ask. And a no.
The worst they can do is say no.
It's just a no. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And like I even asked Jeff Perry to come on this podcast. He
just
politely
never know.
declined, but it was a nice comment. I'll show you that video.
But it might turn into a yes, you know?
Correct. I think even when he said no to me, I felt like it was a not right now.
Yeah.
I think like when he retires, because that was the thing, he was like, no, not while I'm working. I'm not really into podcasts. I don't like to give away secrets. And I'm like, oh, so you're under an NDA. Which is so fine, Jeff Perry. That's so cool. I guess In 3 sentences or less, obviously the no pressure on the 3 sentences, but what would you say is the difference between creating content for radio versus creating content for TikTok?
Um, do you know what? I think people would be surprised to learn that there's not a huge difference, to be honest.
Right.
I think that when social media come along, sorry, I know you said 3 sentences.
No, you're fine. Hit it.
I don't want to.
That's what I was like, divulge, please.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess the short answer is I don't think there is a huge difference, to be honest.
Okay.
I think radio, I think that probably the biggest, I guess,
What's the biggest difference then, I guess?
I guess the thing is with radio, you do actually have time constraints. I know sometimes people tune in and go, oh my God, well, these presenters just shut up. But you are constantly keeping time of things. Like sometimes I know I have to talk for 30 seconds here because the news has to play at this time.
Yeah, what does a day look like for a radio host?
It is like very varied, but essentially, and you get in an hour before the show and that's when all the prep's done. The prep is mostly done the day before, to be honest.
Nice.
And then, you get an hour before to really just check all the news and make sure you're up to date. And then, on air from 6 till 9. And like every other job, as much as it is an amazing and fun job and I love it, I still have to do emails. I still have to do meetings.
No.
I still have to do a lot of admin stuff.
I thought you'd have all those perks.
No.
Have a PA.
No, none of that.
Oh.
I'm not at that level. I'm not at the level of...
Maybe you should leave. Hand in your resignation.
No, I think at my level, I'm still in a lot of meetings and still do it. But I like that. I like being hands-on. And I think when you are passionate about the content you're putting out there, and it doesn't matter what form it is, you want to be involved in the process. I've always, especially as a female announcer, I've always known every single button in the studio, and I've worked in many studios all over Australia. The first thing I ever do is familiarise myself with every button, like every... I mean, this is a bit unusual for a radio announcer, but I'm fascinated with how radio is made. So I understand how it goes to air and all of those things. And I'm not going to say I'm like super smart, but I feel like when you are passionate about anything, you want to really know what really goes into it if you're really committing to it.
Yeah. Do they give you that in the induction?
No, I mean, I really do have like the option to come in and there are some announcers that really just want to be personalities, but I've always just loved the back end side of it as well, like the actual producing of radio as well. I've always just really loved that.
Who's one of your favourite broadcasters then, seeing as you're heavily in that space?
I feel like I've always looked up to kind of a lot of the women that came before me. I think Hamish and Andy were like lightning in a bottle, and I know that's such a basic example to give, but I feel like the thing I've always loved about them is they really created community with the radio they did, and it was very inclusive.
And God, they're funny.
And they're funny and they're entertaining.
Yeah.
And I've always loved Fifi Box. I've always thought she was
I'm a big fan of Fifi.
Yeah, and I think a good radio host, and this is just my opinion, is not someone that you feel is like untouchable or a big celebrity. I feel like radio, I've always thought the radio hosts I've always warmed to are the ones that you genuinely feel like you could have a conversation with. Like not a celebrity that feels like they live a different life than you. If you're talking to people every day, I feel like good radio hosts feel like people that are living life alongside you, not people that are living in some, really superficial, removed world.
Yeah, and I think Hamish and Andy really hit the nail on the head with that.
Yeah.
Their community involvement's insane.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I feel like even though they're like multi-gazillionaires now and live in mansions.
They're still so real.
They're still so real. And yeah.
Oh, I love them. You need to get them on your podcast, girl.
I don't know if I can afford them or if they have the time for that. But
they would charge, wouldn't they? But the worst they could say is no and or send an invoice.
You know what? I'll ask the question.
Do you think radio stations will eventually lean into hiring content creators as broadcasters, or just do you think they'll just work on their current broadcasters and turn them into creators?
I would like to see that. I guess one thing I've always wanted to see especially in mainstream media, is more diversity. I really do think. And that's what I have absolutely loved about social media. It's really given platforms and voices to people and put opinions out there that we would not have gotten through mainstream media, because it is like, as someone that's kind of done the mainstream media path and followed that career, it can be quite gatekeepery and it can be very hard to infiltrate. And it's even getting harder now with, you know, the state of the industry. So, and, you know, there's people that I know that had aspirations to be radio announcers and didn't really get the opportunities that they should have. And now they're full-time content creators that are doing way better
than what they could have even done.
Because they knew they had the talent and they backed themselves in, but they couldn't necessarily, you know, get to where they wanted to or get someone to believe in them. And you know, it's amazing seeing them thrive.
Yeah, I agree. And I love seeing women win. I feel weird for almost saying that, because all of my episodes up until this point have been with men. It has been a bit of a sausage fest over here, Carly. But I think I'm just making it nice for the girls first.
Yes, well, I appreciate it. Well, it's lovely in here.
Yeah, thank you. I know, we just need a candle and maybe a boa.
Yeah, I did see a candle. There is a candle behind me, although I do think it's a tobacco candle.
Yeah.
But, you know, a candle's still a candle.
It is. And, you know, I think there's room. I'll customize this slowly, and then, you know, there's option for branding. I reckon you should take that away too for unpack. Chuck a shelf back there and start. And then you can maybe charge a square for advertising.
And I love a knick-knack.
Yeah.
So this actually does make me very happy.
Yeah. Nice. What was the first video on TikTok where you were like, oh, okay, you can build, that you posted, where you were like, oh, okay, you can build a real live audience with TikTok? What was the video that was like, oh, okay, the response to this is crazy?
Well, it's interesting because I feel like I'm not there yet. I feel like I've got a long ways to go in terms of actually properly feeling like I have a captive audience, because it does feel like I don't really.
But that's TikTok. There's drips and drabs that comes past and waves. But I feel like consistently I've seen your views up there, and I'm like,
oh, that's nice to say. To be honest, it's the dumbest video.
It
it's
usually
so dumb, and it hit 1 million views, and I still don't get it. I get it, but I don't. So I was sitting there one day and I literally was thinking, whatever happened to waterbeds? And so I did.
A valid question. No one's asking it.
I know. And I did.
My parents had a waterbed. Did you find out?
I literally did, because I went on this like hyperfixation deep dive, and I thought, well, if I'm asking this question, maybe someone else is. So I literally just did a TikTok. Like, I'm not even kidding. Probably all up half an hour went into this. And next thing, it's at 1 million views. People are fighting about waterbeds in the comments. And that was when I thought, wow, okay. And I think for me, it was more, and that's when I started really leaning into social media, because I thought, well, if I'm having these thoughts, I'm not the only one. And I feel like with I guess the radio side of things, your brain is like almost constantly in content mode. Like, you're always thinking, how can I make this into something for the show tomorrow? And I don't necessarily know if I would have actually brought that to the radio show and said, how about we do a break on waterbeds? But I guess that's when I started to think more content-minded and more like, okay, well, if I'm having these thoughts, then maybe other people are.
Yeah.
And the next one was, why do I always see adult pelicans but never baby pelicans? And then I dived into that. And it was interesting it's because they're all born inland, because I'm from a coastal town originally. And I was like, where are all the baby pelicans? I only see adult pelicans.
Well, this is valid.
And then, I just did a little TikTok about that. And then if you've ever looked up a photo of what an actual baby pelican looks like, that in itself is really creepy.
I honestly can't picture it. We're going to need to Google that.
Yeah.
Where did all the waterbeds go? Did you come to a conclusion with that too?
Well, yes. I'm trying to remember now. It was so long ago. Basically, they're really dangerous because they're so heavy, and they were trying to stop, and so many things can go wrong with them. It's actually quite dangerous. So I think they were trying to phase them out for health and safety purposes.
I want to say they went viral. Like, I was a child when they were at their virality, but my parents
Yeah.
did have one. My uncle did have one. And, like, if you had one in your house in New Zealand, I am from, like, what you'd say the ghettos of Auckland, but if you had a waterbed, you were affluent.
It was a big
You're
status
wrong.
symbol back in the day, wasn't it? Like I remember I had like an aunt and uncle that had one. I was like, oh, they're rich.
Yeah, they're flash.
They're doing well for themselves.
Yeah.
They don't have to lay on their back.
They're just, like, moving
they can
around.
wobble. Must be nice.
And I think back and I'm like, that would be oddly uncomfortable, no?
Yeah, I'd love to know, like, if there is actually any health benefits to waterbeds. I
think
don't know.
it's just cool.
Yeah. It was just obviously a fad thing.
Yeah. So when you were working in that small town for that radio station, Maynardwa, I could be wrong here, but did
Yeah.
you start as a receptionist?
I started radio. Yeah, originally I started radio as a receptionist and I was doing a bit of everything. Like it was kind of like a bit of the behind the scenes, like pushing buttons of the radio so I wasn't
Yeah.
on air. Then I would do like answering the phones, reception, and then I did like another, just little bits and pieces, whatever anyone needed me to do really. I was kind of like just the,
Admin.
yeah.
Yeah. The girl in the office on minimum wage that everyone could make everyone do.
Yes.
Those still exist today.
Yeah, yes, that was me. Getting the coffees, the dry cleaning, whatever you needed, and then going home and eating 2-minute noodles.
Yeah, Devil Wears Prada in the flesh, you know. That
Yeah,
kind
but
of
less
situation.
glamorous,
Less catty.
Yeah.
You weren't ending up with Chanel outfits afterwards.
No. I
Devastating.
did get a few icy cold cans of Coke though.
That's pretty good. A win is a win, Carly. Don't be selfish.
Hey, I was back then. That was a luxury.
That was tops.
Yeah.
I guess in terms of partnerships and ambassadorship, this is probably something I'm leaning into. Don't know what it looks like. Hopefully these guys can give me some intel on the back end. But I noticed that you're an ambassador for the RSPCA, which is really cool. What a cool foundation and cause to be behind.
Yeah.
How did that come? Did they knock on your door? Did they? Is it like, did they scout you like Pamela Anderson?
No, nothing like that. Well, it actually weirdly started in Queensland. I have always been really passionate about the RSPCA. She's now since passed away, but I adopted a dog from the RSPCA, oh God, about 10 years ago now. And it just honestly, and just learning about what they did and I don't know, like I just was so naive to that world. And then, once I learned about what they did, I was passionate about. And then through the radio station, I just got involved with a few things. And then in Queensland, they just through working with them and doing fundraisers through the radio and just having a natural passion for it, they asked me if I wanted to be an ambassador. And I was like, absolutely, of course.
Freak yeah.
And I loved doing that. And then when I come to WA, they actually didn't have an ambassadorship program at all. They didn't have that running in WA. And because I asked, I was like, oh,
can we transfer?
Yeah. And unfortunately, they weren't doing it at that time. And they've since implemented it and asked me. So it's been quite an organic relationship. And
nice.
It's
a long relationship too. I think that's the type of relationship I value the most, I guess, in business is the long-term ones.
Yeah, and it's just genuinely something I'm passionate about and seeing the work that they do. And look, being an ambassador is so minimal in comparison to what the people that are actually doing the work and working for these organizations do. So it feels almost a little superficial in comparison, but I just feel
still spreading the good word.
Yeah, and I think that that's important too, and I think that's where things like social media and things can come into play and really help bring awareness to some of these organizations.
Look at Telethon. I reckon it's just the reach that's changed, that's built their goal. But I guess at this point they have to beat their goal after every year.
Yeah, well, it keeps getting higher and higher each year,
Because that's a shit closer, I guess, at the end of Telethon if you're like, oh, We did 1 million less than last year, but thanks everyone.
Yeah.
Don't know how that would be worded. So I guess in the next 2 years, where are you going? What's the plan? What's the goals?
That is a good question because I don't know when this episode's going out, but as of today, I just found out I lost my job.
I love that.
So I don't know, to be honest. I feel like I would still, when I say lost my job, it was made redundant. So, there's no bad blood. I do not take it personally at all. Unfortunately, it's just radio, and I feel grateful to have had the time I did with it.
Yeah.
And like I had, 15 years in radio, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I would have done it forever, but it's the way the industry's going. So I guess for me, if I can stay as close to that as possible, I will. But I just don't exactly know what that looks like. But I think that we are in an exciting time for creatives and people that genuinely want to create content and put it out, and because anyone can do it. So I would like to still stay in that space, but I still also have a mortgage to pay. So we'll see what that look and feels
The world
like.
is your oyster.
Yeah.
I do think you've built enough of a portfolio even to just shoot your shot at other radio stations. Triple M's lost really. Love Triple M though.
We do love Triple M.
We love Triple M.
Yeah.
But I think they've cut a major loss there.
Yeah,
personally.
and it wasn't a personal thing,
Yeah.
This is something that, it's not just me. There's other people affected. It really isn't a personal.
In the corporate world, would you call it a budget cut?
Yeah, definitely. So,
we're literally in a financial crisis, so it makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. So it really is one of those things where you just cannot take it personally.
Unlucky draw, really.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess the saddest thing for me about it is not so much for me, like obviously I've found my thing that I love, but for the industry, I think I was so lucky to do that for 15 years and I absolutely loved it, but it's hard to think of the future and people that will not be able to have a 15, and maybe they will, but yeah, it's sad to see opportunities go that are opportunities that are even bigger than me, that are opportunities that just will not exist for other people.
Yeah, that's probably like the saddest place. Or hopefully the door closing is the sign of another door opening, I always like to call it. I think so. So I think one of my questions as well to ask you was going to be more along the lines like, okay, so Carly snaps, taking away Triple M. Who is Carly?
Oh, God, I'm working that. I don't know. That is such a loaded question.
The worst time to ask you probably too, because your whole world's just been thrown into thought.
But I think this is what social media has been good for as well, and starting my podcast because, I
feel like your gut must have known to start the podcast and begin that journey.
I mean, look, anyone that was kind of looking around the media landscape was kind of going, I
want to start. Everyone's got a podcast.
Yeah.
Too, yeah.
And I guess there's a lot of transferable skills there. It's definitely not the same as having a radio show or the security or, those things. But it's just a creative outlet. But yeah, I guess for me, God, how do you even answer that? I guess for me, to be honest, like my identity was tied up for a long time in having a radio show or being a part of a radio show because you share your life and you build relationships with your audience. And I've always been very much the same on air, off air. There's no
transparent.
Yeah, there's been no persona there. So there was a while there where I really did feel like my job was my identity. So I feel like I'm in a good place with it now. And I was actually a part of Redundancies a couple of years ago. Okay. So that was when I had to have to take stock and go, oh, well, who am I without a radio show? So I have been here before. And I think years ago when that happened, that's when I started to realize that my value and self-worth should not lay in what a job title is. So I made peace with that a long time ago. But that I'm glad I did because that's why I'm probably, as much as I'm sad to lose something that I love so much, I think that I have hopefully built up enough self-worth away from that job title to hopefully feel confident to go into whatever's next.
Well, if you need a reminder, just call me.
Yeah, well,
Got
you've
my
been
number.
gassing me up, so I really needed
No, I
this
strongly
conversation.
believe in you. I think I've genuinely only invite people here that I find genuinely interesting, and I'm a genuine fan. I reckon you're going to
That's
do
really
amazing.
sweet. Thank you. Yeah, and I think it's like kind of like what you're doing with your content creation. You know, you do have to start somewhere, and it is scary when you're doing it yourself and you're pushing yourself forward, and you're like, you know, because I think with the radio, people have to listen to you because they've had long-standing, I guess, habits of listening to a certain station, and you just happen to be on it. Whereas when you're the one that's putting out things with just you attached to it, I feel like that is a scary place to be, and I think that's really brave that you're doing that as well.
Thanks. That means a lot to me. I do feel brave. Sometimes I feel a little bit crazy, actually, but I've only just really...
We all do. Don't worry about that.
I'm like, you know what? That is a bit crazy that I asked Jeff Parry straight to his face if he'd come on the podcast. And then when he went past my car, I was like, this is me. See you later, Jeffrey. Fully government named him. You know what I mean?
He probably thought he was in trouble. That's why he didn't want to come on. He's like, why is she? He's in the first and last. What have I done?
I was like, thanks, Jeffrey.
What's
Have
this
a good
about?
one. I just panicked. But yeah, I think having Pauline on would be cool. That's how I ended up meeting Jeff Parry. But I think that translates into real estate a lot. Like I find a lot of real estate agents, their whole persona and lifestyle is real estate, and I do think that is normal to fall into it, but I think that's what I was struggling with when I first started the podcast. So I was like, wait, do I want this to be a real estate podcast? And then it made me dig into myself, like, what do I actually want from this?
Yeah.
And then I was
And
like,
what did you find?
I found that I just wanted to meet people and basically steal their business insights, as a quick summary. But
Yeah. But see, if you're thinking that way, then there'll be an audience of people that'll listen that want those things, but they're not the ones that necessarily want to be in front of the microphone, you know?
I find like usually in a room full of people, no matter what room it is, if I'm in it, I'm the least scared to ask. So,
And that's a great quality
yeah.
that not everyone has.
Yeah.
Because I do believe everyone's curious, but not everyone's confident to ask questions.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid of asking or having an awkward conversation, which I don't know where that came from, but it translates well into most of the fields I'm stepping into now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for you with regards to where you step next. Are you going to go door knocking on radio stations' doors, or like, is it like a resume thing? Do you get a good reference?
I mean, I have left on good terms, which is nice, and it wasn't personal. So
Good.
I think in terms of this is probably the best way to lose your job if there is such a thing.
Correct.
And yeah, last time this happened to me, I was lucky enough to be offered another opportunity, a couple of other opportunities pretty much straight away.
I think you're going to be snapped up and you're going to be shocked.
No, I think the landscape's different now. You know, there's just not, it's not a personal thing. There's just not the opportunities to go to now. So it probably is a bit of making my own luck. Yeah. And it's not that I have closed the door on radio. It's not that it's not always going to be a passion of mine. But I guess you can't really live in the past if there's no future there, I guess. But I'm open to it. I'm definitely open to it.
Beautiful. So is there a field you see yourself stepping into already? Or I feel like the wheels have been turning. I know it's fresh, but...
Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard
it would be hard.
As a creative, because I feel like one thing that radio afforded me, which I'm just forever grateful for, is I really truly got the opportunity to just be creative and be myself, and that is so rare, and to be paid to do that is so rare. Whereas I guess to really be a content creator and to be putting things out, the thing that I lack is the money side of it, and the being a businesswoman and monetizing and monetization and all those things.
Girl, me, you, and Triple M.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm just used to, you know, being able to just create things and not having to worry about how does this...
The overheads.
Yeah. So that was a really sweet spot to be in. So I would love to somehow be able to still be creative because I just loved it. But I still have to pay the bills somehow. So I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll find something. You just have no choice. You just have to
Well, I guess one thing is
you could enter into content creatorship, like being a content creator for like Triple M. Maybe you could, maybe you're just moving floors, babe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't. The content creator thing feels like the natural fit, but to be honest, I don't. I think that people minimize what content creators do, to be honest. I don't think it is that. And you have to have a really captive audience to monetize it.
Yeah.
I do still consider myself very small on the scale.
Me too. Me too. Regards me. Not you.
Yeah, like I don't think that
I think you're like huge.
I'll take that, but no. Yeah, I don't. It's not like, you know, I'm having brand deals and things like that. So maybe this is where the hustle begins, I guess. I don't really know what that looks like, but yeah, I definitely have to figure that out, I guess. Yeah.
I reckon your position, I don't know, maybe I'll just manifest it. I think it's going to be
I'm loving this.
like
I'm loving this.
Custom. It's going to be attached to a, you know, good pay cycle, something comfortable for you. Shockingly so, though.
This is all very good.
Yeah, I think it'll afford you. I think wherever you're going, we'll have a marketing wing. So they're going to give you a young person to just post all your shit.
I love the young person. That is nice of you to say.
That's what I've done. Like, I know I'm a young person, but I've got an even younger person doing my stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they just breathe and live that stuff. So they just know how to do it easy.
Yeah. And I think it's also exciting, you know. I think it's always exciting to evolve and to see what's next. And I think the one thing about radio is it might not look like it, but you do have to have a lot of hustle in radio.
Yeah.
And
in terms of chasing like your guests, is that something you have to do yourself?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like we had a producer and then budget cuts happened. So that's
then
when
you became the producer.
Yeah. And I've done that in the past before, and I've literally just been a producer behind the scenes. So I feel like, I think one thing radio's taught me is to just be adaptable and go with the flow. And if you do truly want to stay, you know, in some creative role, you have to really just go with it and just keep the hustle going, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess you could try all data plan content, but the ones that resonate well are the dumb ones. The waterbeds.
The waterbeds.
The pelicans, baby pelicans.
Yeah. Prepare to see more waterbed and pelican content from me.
Please do. I feel like you could start a series with that because those are genuine concerns of mine. Now I will have to look for a photo of a baby pelican.
Oh, you're not ready. You're not ready.
Jumping into a trigger word with hustle. Yeah. Welcome to Kiss to the Hustle. I guess on the lines of you being and having to adapt to changes, especially with content creation. And again now that, you know, we've had a friendly redundancy.
Yeah.
It was the other R. I was going to get it.
It was an R word.
Yeah. And so what is your mindset? I know it's all very fresh and probably hard to ask, but what's your mindset moving into, you know, you're going to have to walk it like you talk it now. You're going to have to adapt.
Yep. And adapt is like the key word to it. It really is. I think that this is where the hustle begins now for me. I think that I've been here before, believe it or not, and I have been made redundant before.
From a radio show?
Yes, I got so tomorrow will be my last show. I've literally been here where I've been told tomorrow will be your last radio show.
Yeah.
So tomorrow I'm going to enjoy every single second because it could literally be the last.
Are you crying during this news? Like, what is the feeling?
No, I haven't cried yet. I don't know if that's psychotic of me or.
No, it's coming.
it probably will.
Just let it come when it does. Just let it out.
But I think to answer your question about kind of what the next steps are and where I'm at right now. Obviously, it is fresh. Like you said. But I guess to kind of go back to last time this happened.
What did you do?
I really just had to have a level of radical acceptance. There's no...
Is what it is type of situation.
And because at the time I was part of like 24 shows that got cut. And so the group chat was going off.
Bananas.
And it was just interesting looking how everyone processed it differently. And there was no right or wrong. But I think for me... And I've, I even had a career before already. Like I've been someone, I literally have had a job since I was 14 years old, and there's been times when I've had 3 jobs and, so I do think that no matter what, having a work ethic does translate. And I think when you know that you're a worker, I think there's a level of I'll be okay. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, not that I think I'm the best hire or the smartest hire or anything like that, but I know that I'll work. Whatever that is next, if I want something, I know that I'll work for it. I don't necessarily know what that is yet, but I do have faith that I will work.
Yeah, I think that just comes from trusting yourself, knowing yourself. I think a lot of people aren't there, to be honest, to be able to, trust that the universe will take them where they need to be. I think I've just kind of trusted the universe over the last 3 weeks, and it's been weird, but it's delivering.
It is. And I think, so for last time this happened, it's interesting. So I got presented with some options about redeployments, and I took one of them, and it was a career step back. And I remember at the time people literally saying to me, I got offered that. I said no. And their careers died that day. And I don't think there's any right or wrong. And I do not say this in an arrogant way, but I knew that I had to take a step back to go forward. And if I didn't take that job, which was a huge career step back, and at the time everyone was like, what the hell? Yeah. I never would have gotten the job that I ended up getting a year after taking that step back, which ended up being one of the best jobs that I've ever had in my career. Yeah. So it extended my career by 5 years by taking a step back. So, I might have to now take a step back and do something, but I'm hoping that even if I do have to step back, it will propel me forward eventually.
Yeah, I'm like, you might have to go forward, girl. You might get thrown into the deep end.
Yeah, so I don't know if that made a lot of sense, but I think sometimes if you really do want to, I guess, stay in a certain career, you just have to sometimes sidestep, pivot. And, I'm not necessarily talking about radio. I'm more talking about content creation and
just life in general, really.
And just having a career even. You just have to really be open to what is in front of you and willing to go there.
I knew you were a hustler.
Well, the hustle begins now.
Well, if you were working at 14, I believe you were a hustler quite young then.
Yeah, and I think I've always had...
I think that's entrepreneurial mindset. Like people that I know or have met that have been working that young, they're hungry.
And I even like...
relentless even.
I remember the second I could get a job, like 14 and 9 months, I remember I got a job before I was even legally allowed to get a job.
That's Australia for you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know about being 14 and 9 months having a job. I think
they're worse in the Philippines.
Yeah, I think it was only like $5 an hour back then. But yeah, I think that it doesn't matter what you do. If you do want to work, like it does, eventually down the line, something happens from that.
Yeah.
And that could be naivety, but...
No. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
The world's scary. I think it pays in content creation to be a little delusional too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Be a little crazy.
Exactly.
Half the guests I wouldn't have got on if I was like, meh, let me just send it.
That's what I mean. And that's... Yeah, you've got the right attitude about it, is you just got to go for it and see what happens.
I guess with that... would you like to sign us off?
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me, Patti. Thank you for anyone that's watched this or listened or anyone that's about to hire me. I really appreciate it. You can also follow me to see what my new era looks like, my new unemployed era, at Carly Snaps on Instagram and at Carly's TikTok on TikTok, both with Zs, not Ss. I don't know if I now have to change that now that I'm looking for a job and have to look more professional, but... Anyway, thank you for having me, and the hustle begins now, so I gotta go.